Hello everyone, my name is Pukar Dhital. I'm an English instructor and today we'll be covering Grade 7 English. We'll be going through the chapter Games and Sports. So let's begin the class.
Today we will again start the reading comprehension here, okay, under the chapter Games and Sports. So we have this passage here which I'm about to read, all right, and then we will do the questions that follow, okay, so you can observe my reading real close. It's about the sports meet, sports day actually, annual sports day, all right, so let's read the passage. Sports meet. It was spring. The weather was cool and pleasant. Colorful flags were fluttering from the flagpoles. One could hear the drone of people sitting around expectantly for the event to begin. All of us were standing with our hearts thumping. It was the opening of the annual sports day in our school. I'm always excited about the sports day, and this year was going to be special. I knew it in my heart. Our house was going to win the sports cup for sure. We were at 560 points and the nearest house was at 540 points. The results for 60 points were going to be decided today. The day started with beating of the drums and bugles and blaring. First, all the students paraded the guests and dignitaries. Then there was a demonstration of some group physical exercises. We even had a cultural dance and a group song. But I was not interested in any of them. I waited impatiently for the competitive events to start. We had 6 events left: 100 meter, 200 meter, 400 meter, 4 times 100 meter relay, 4 times 200 meter relay, 4 times 400 meter relay finals. 10 points were awarded to the winner, 6 to the second place, and 4 to the third place. So now here it describes about what sorts of games were introduced in the sports day. Finally, the races started. The first events were 400 meter and 200 meter races. Both were won by the house that was second. We only managed to get third in one and were disqualified from the other. Now the points stood 564 and 560. That was bad. All the students from our house looked gloomy and down. Then the 2 relays were conducted, 4 times 200 meter and 4 times 400 meter. We managed to win one of them and came third in the other one. The house that was following us managed to get second positions in both events. Now the scores were 580 and 572. That was too close for comfort. The other house had a very good sprinter for 100 meter race. Things were looking bad. As expected, the other house won the 100 meter race and we could come only fourth. Now the scores stood at 582 and 580 respectively. The students from the other house started singing songs and chanting slogans. It was getting unbearable. I could feel my eyes burning. If I could, I would have sat down and cried. But there was one more event and it would be the deciding race. Everyone was aware of this and everyone was expectant. There seemed to be a hush before the event. It was like the calm before the storm. The participants were called for the 4 times 100 meter relay. We shouted as loud as we could to support our team members. We had made a silly song about winning the tournament and rubbing shoe polish on the faces of the losers, which was assumed to be the other house. The air was full of chants of sports as it got more and more electrified. Then the participants were lined up in their starting positions. Our sports teacher raised the starting gun and bang! The race started. The other house had kept their best runner in the first leg and soon they were leading with a considerable distance. My heart was in my mouth. Now it was the second set of runners. Our house gained a little. The frenzied crowd was shouting as if there was no tomorrow. When the third set of runners reached the final leg, our house was about 3 meters behind the leading runner. Then the final leg of the relay started. Slowly our runner gained on the other house. The final 100 meters seemed to take forever. It was as if the whole event was captured in slow motion. 50 meters to go. Now 30, now 10. Both the runners were absolutely abreast now. Then it was over. We're not sure who had won because it seemed that both the runners touched the ribbon at the same time. Nonetheless, we were shouting our heads off. It looked as if the fate of the race would be decided by how you could shout. Our sports teacher got hold of the microphone and announced the winner. A tremendous burst of sound rose from our end of the ground. Arms flayed and shirts and shoes flew up in the air. It was a moment to cherish. It was the taste of victory. I'd like to add one more here. By how? One of the words is missing here, and that is how loud you could shout. Okay. So now that I've read the passage, it's all the description about an annual sports day where there's this house competition. All right, and the narrator here wants his house to win, and he's really hoping that he wouldn't be disheartened and that his house will win at the first place. Now, we are doing question answers, all right, related to this passage. Okay, so let's move ahead. Now, remember, all these questions have their answer in the passage which I've just read. Okay, so let's start here with number 1 here. Number A, how did the day start? Now, remember, every time when you answer it, be very careful in which tense the question has been asked. Here it's simple past. How did the day start? And this date will always influence the verb that follows, which is start here in this case. All right, hence the answer would be. Now, to get the answer, of course, you'll have to read the passage and read the passage very carefully, and don't be nervous or don't get disheartened if you cannot find the answer. That means that you'll have to read the passage again and again until you find the answer, because the answer lies right there in the passage. Okay, so this one is easy. I'm sure you can do it. How we do is the day started. See, you were taking this to simple past because here is did here in the question. The day started with beating of the drums and bugles blaring. Okay, so see, number 1 is done. Now we move on to number B. Why did narrator think that they were going to win the cup? Why did the narrator think, again did, okay, did the narrator think that they were going to win the cup? Remember, it always influences the verb that follows. In this case, think. We have to take think to the simple past because the question here is asked in simple past. All right, so we begin the answer here. The narrator thought that they were going to win the cup because his house was leading the nearest house by 20 points. See, that's the initial expression. The narrator thought that they were going to win the cup because his house was leading the nearest house by 20 points. They already had 20 points lead. Okay, let's continue further, which is number C. Give 2 reasons why the narrator, the event was excited. Give 2 reasons why the narrator of the event was excited. Right? Most of the times, the answer begins right from the question. 2 reasons why the narrator of the event was excited are as follows. Now, because we're already using here lowercase letter ABC, all right, let's use Roman here, I. Now, 2 reasons, all right. Let's say the first reason is the narrator always gets excited on sports day, all right. And the second reason, the narrator was certain that his house was going to win the sports cup. Remember, all these answers that you see here, they're all from the passages, all right? So you'll have to read passages time and again to see, all right, and to figure out that how you're supposed to answer any specific questions. Now, the remaining questions that I'm about to give here, now remember, this is your homework, all right, which you can do at home. Read the passage again and again, and which certainly you can do at home. Okay, so here are the questions. Or rather, I would say these are your homework. Okay, so here you go. Number A. Why were the students not sure who won the final race? Now remember, the answer lies right in the passage. Why were the students not sure who won the final race? Number B. It looked as if the fate of the race would be decided by how loud you could shout. And remember, it's with an inverted comma. It looked as if the fate of the race would be decided by how loud you could shout. The question continues. Why does the narrator use this expression to describe the moment? Now, here's the question. It looked as if the fate of the race would be decided by how loud you could shout. Why does the narrator use this expression to describe the moment? So when answering this question, remember, first you copy the statement as it is. Right? You copy, it looked as if the fate, when you answer it, you copy first this statement. If it looked as if the fate of the race would be decided by how loud you could shout. And then you full stop, and of course then you close the inverted comma there as well. And then you go to the question, why does the narrator use this expression to describe the moment? And then you write, you can even change the paragraph if you want to, all right? And then you change the paragraph and then write, the narrator, now here is do does, simple present, okay, form of verb. Here's the auxiliary which denotes that we have to write the answer now in simple present. Why does the narrator use this expression to describe the moment? So here we go. The narrator, of course, though capital, when you answer, I'm giving you the technique of how to answer this. First, you copy the statement within the inverted comma. All right, when you answer it, first you copy this statement. You see all these, my blue pen here? You copy the statement. It looked as if the fate of the race would be decided by how loud it could shout. Then you change the paragraph. The narrator, now does is there, so the answer becomes uses. U-S-E-S. The narrator uses, take it to simple present. The narrator uses this expression to describe the moment because, what do you think? You use that. Look at that. It looked as if the fate of the race would be decided by how loud you could shout. This happened right at the last moment. All right? Because the participants were running for their houses and it was a cutthroat competition. And all the students were shouting at the top of their voices because all of them wanted their house to win. And in the audience, it looked as if the one who shouts more will win the competition. Of course, that's not the truth, but they were all excited for their houses. They were hooting for their houses. They wanted their house to win. You have to explain a bit here, okay? You have to explain what the scenario there. It's the final decisive running, okay? So the narrator uses this expression to describe the moment because it was the decisive moment of the sports day. All the students were shouting so that their house participants would get encouraged and run harder to win the race. They're hooting their houses. In the audience section, it looked as if the team will win if they would shout at the top of their voice. This rather surprised the narrator. Hence, he made the above statement. So your answer can go like that, okay? So, of course, you can try your best to describe this moment here, and of course later on you can show the work to a teacher, okay? So again, now let's move on to number C. How do you know that the narrator's house won the last race and the cup? How do you know that the narrator's house won the last race and the cup? Again, of course, you'd find the answer in the passage. You'll have to read it again and again until you get the answer, okay? Now, in case of you can start with, we know that the narrator's house won the last race and the cup, all right? So in case of you, when you answer it, you got to write, we know that the narrator's house won the last race and the cup, and then you read the passage to figure out the answer. Okay, this you can do it as your homework. Now, let's move further. Okay, now look at this. Where is it words? Now, what do we have here? Here you can see here, words, and we'll have to fill in the blanks, these blank spaces, with the correct words, choosing the correct words from these number of words given here as an option to us, okay? So fill in the blank space with the correct words from the list. And we're talking about the list given here, okay? Now look at the first one. I'm going to do maybe, okay, the first three, or any three, all right? There are here 7 questions here. So maybe I'm going to do any 3 out of these 7, okay? So Let's get started. A momentary fell in the hall when the invited for the event arrived. And before I start doing it, maybe you should first take time to understand, and maybe you can do it in your class as a classwork. Okay? A momentary, I would say, you see this horse? A momentary horse fell in the hall when the, what do you think is the answer? When the dignitary dignitaries invited for the event arrived. The weather is, alright, before you start looking into it, make sure you have first filled in yourself in the class. The weather is gloomy, and the wind is making the flags flutter. I think it will rain. Okay? I think it will rain. The crowd, you do that yourself. Alright, let's move further. What do we have here? The speech he was giving over the, alright, you have to get the best option. Remember the list earlier? That soon? Could not be heard because of the continuous. Okay, let me add this to you here, which is missing, okay? Continuous. Again, that's up to you. The names of the participant. Oh, I'm just saying the answer, right? So the names of the, there's the blank. Where, again, that's your call. Over the microphone. Alright. Again, the started running after there was bang from the starting gun. Maybe you can go back in the video and look at those options, okay? Now there was again a blank disturbance because of the blank sound coming from the concert. How would I do the last one? I met the president at the bus stop yesterday. Nonetheless, it was fate that made us meet. Usually people, when they meet some very distinguished figures like celebrities or presidents or prime ministers, they would consider, oh, what a good fate, I met a certain celebrity or president, see? So that's why, nonetheless, it was fate that made us meet. Okay, so again, you can complete this in the classwork, all right, and I'm sure you can do it. Now let's move further here again. Now, there are some phrases used in this passage which do not mean what they say at the surface level. There's a deeper meaning to them. Can you match them with their meanings? Now, here is a phrase, let's number it, okay? So, for instance, I'll say this is A, B, C, D, E, F, G, S. Now, these phrases will always has their meaning, okay? Now, these phrases have their own meaning, and I want you to decode it and just match the following, stating what these phrases are trying to say. What does it mean? Now, the first one, as if there was not tomorrow, it means what? It means that someone is, hey, you're running as if there's not, as if there was no tomorrow, all right? So maybe it means, say I'm going to write the number here now, eagerly without thinking, okay? So this means as if there's not tomorrow, means someone is doing something in a very hurried manner, all right? As if tomorrow will never come, okay? So that way, figure out for number B, C. Okay, let's do. I'll again help you with number D. Feel eyes burning. Now again, these phrases are all from the passage, by the way. Okay, so again, you've got to read the passage to understand its meaning. Feel eyes burning. So what do you think it means? It means what? All right, feel like crying. See, feel eyes burning. Feel like crying. Heart was in the mouth, too close for comfort, and take forever. Okay, let me again help you on take forever. Okay, take forever means what? What does it mean? Hey, are you going to take forever? Means what? If you can, ask a friend, you're calling your friends so that you guys can go out in the lunchtime and enjoy the lunch. However, but your friend, you see, he or she is busy doing the homework, and you go and say, hey, are you going to come or are you going to take forever? So what are you going to say for number Z? And you'll obviously be saying, it means take a very, very long time. So this is Z, all right? So take forever means take a long time. And rest you can, of course, do it. Again, you might have to consult dictionary to do this work. Right? Again, this you can complete it at home. All right, and you can do it as your homework. Now, let's move further again. Okay, this very short conversation. I'm going to read this conversation to you, all right? I'm going to try to understand the essence of this conversation. Try to understand what this conversation is trying to say. Okay, here you go. Read the following dialogue. Woman, friend, I can't walk to office every day. It's too far, or it's too far. Man, yes, it is far. I think you should buy a scooty. Now, look at that. Yes, it is far. He agrees to that. I think you should buy a scooty. Should buy a scooty. Is here suggesting, this man is here suggesting his friend. I think you should buy a scooty, Woman, that's a good idea. That's a good idea. Should I buy a new one? Yes, you should. What color do you like? Again, of course, he confirms her idea of buying a new scooter. Yes, you should. What color do you like? Woman, I like red and blue. Which one do you think I should buy? Which one do you think I should buy? I think you should buy the blue one. Again, he's giving you a strong suggestion. I think you should buy the blue one. And see, he's very formal, says, thank you, friend. I'd like to buy the blue one, see? So she takes his advice and decides to buy a blue one. Okay, so now here's one more homework to you all. All right, so what suggestions would you give to your friends in the following situations? What suggestions would you give to your friends in the following situations? Right, so it's all about giving suggestion to your friend. So here's the situation given. Okay, so let's go to the situation number 1. All right, your friend missed some classes and he or she is worried about the missing lessons. See, here's the situation. Very common situation in the classroom, don't you think? Your friend missed some classes, maybe he was absent or she was absent, and he or she is worried about the missing lessons. What kind of suggestions do you provide to such friend? All right. So here is your suggestion. Okay, and you're giving him a suggestion. And you can try to be polite, okay? Don't, see, he's worried, all right? So maybe first you need to calm him down, or I'm going to take him in this case. So we have option whether to choose he or she, okay? So I would say, don't worry, Jack. It is wise to meet the teachers in their leisure time and request them for guidance. See, so here's the suggestion. See, don't worry, Jack. It is wise, right? It is wise, meaning it is best idea to meet the teachers in their leisure time and request them for a guidance. And or you can, just like what we've read, or you can use should here, right, to define the situations. Okay, like for instance, don't worry, Jack. You should meet the respective teachers and request them to guide you. See, even this is correct. Okay, so we move on. And again, I'm going to provide you one more example here. Pawan, this is the situation here. Pawan wants to participate in sports, but he is not sure if he can do it. Now here's the situation here, all right? What suggestion are you going to provide here in this case? Pawan wants to participate in sports, but he's not sure if he can do it. So what suggestion are you going to give him? You've got to motivate him. Come on, you have to participate. So Pawan, you should participate in sports, for you saw an amazing sportsmanship. See, Pawan, you should participate in sports, for you saw an amazing sportsmanship. Now, that's a suggestion given to Pawan. So in this way, you can also, this is your homework again now from number C, provide suggestion to these situations. Your best friend lost her pen. What suggestion are you going to give in this case? Number D, Goma has not felt well today. And finally, number E, Furba wants to win the race in the next sports meet. Now, these are the situations given, and your task is to provide a suggestion to all the situations. This also, you can do it as a homework. Thank you so much, and if you have any queries, feel free to email us at learning@deerwalk.edu.np. Thank you.